There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
This will make it harder to forget.
Do we want to finish with who's next before we go into that
Why
part?
don't we keep the chain going of our year of
Okay, who's next?
2024? Uh,
Oh, had a few significant things going on with the health thing. Oh, let me show you something. This is amazing. We live in amazing times. Be right back.
Fred just disappeared. It's so amazing.
Marilyn, just a quick note. I take Nariva and I've been taking it for over a year and I swear by it.
What are the?
Neuriva. It's
Hold
for
it.
memory. I told
What
Dennis
what what?
about it
How has it helped?
at the family What did you say,
How
Jane?
has it helped?
Well, I still struggle sometimes, but I struggle less. I don't know how, I mean, I've not been diagnosed. I
Yeah,
just realized that
Yeah,
I'm struggling for a memory or the name of a
yeah.
place or name of a person, the name of a movie. Just
yeah.
little things, not things that are altering my life.
Spell it again.
Spell it again.
Neu, Neu,
What?
NEU.
RI,
No, wait.
Yeah,
N
slowly.
Neuriv as in Venezuela, A. Nuriva. It's for the
Is it over the
neurons in your
counter or
brain. And they're gummies. And I take 2 every morning.
so it's over the counter?
Yes, it is. I've not been diagnosed. I mean, this is not something that's debilitating for me. It's just I see a progression and we have it in the family. So
Mhm. Yeah,
I want to be as good as I can be, and I'm better. I'm not saying it's perfect.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've started on taking lecithin, which Maggie and
Oh,
I used to take years ago, and I think it's helping with memory and thinking and things like that. But I think I told you all about my heart issues that this summer we've been going month to month almost on whether I'm gonna have the surgery, the ablation, and he was to the point. The last I had a nuclear cardiogram, and it came out absolutely perfect. In fact, they called people in to say, "Look at this. Here's 2 traces, one from a year ago, and here's this one." And they said everything's back to normal. And I said, "Wait, but I'm still in AFib at random." And he said, "That doesn't show up in this test." I said, "Well, it wasn't during the test." So we argued about it a little bit. And one of the things, he's trying to not have me go through the surgery because it's destructive, for one.
hmm,
No, that's the whole thing. He said, "I'd rather not destroy parts of your heart if you don't have to." So
Mhm.
that's good.
what he's done now, he said, "Whenever you have a problem, send me a cardiogram."
That $99 one?
That's my cardiogram machine.
The
Oh, I was going to say,
$99 one. Yeah.
you're not on a monitor, a Holter
No,
monitor? Okay.
he put me on monitors, and I'd come up with one episode, and then after I came off of it, I'd have dozens of them.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
So now, whenever I have a twinge in my chest, I use this thing and record a cardiogram. It's only a single trace. The $99 one is a 6 trace. He said, "Don't get that one." He said, "It's not worth the extra money. Plus, that is more like a cell phone in size." So, um, but the other thing that's happened that's more recent, and in fact, I spent part of the afternoon doing it, is I got a call from some of my old buddies at Siemens. They said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm retired." So they said, "Well, would you like to change that?" So they said they have a company. There's about 70 guys in it that retired from Siemens. Uh, probably I know half of them. And they said, we get into, and it's a company that's based in Cyprus that does design and construction of power plants. So they have a side business of consulting on problems, which is what I did for about 20 years with Siemens. Whether it's water treatment or fuel quality or combustion at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit or just weird things. And they said, we were wondering if you'd be interested in working with us. And I said, well, as long as there's no travel, although that's been changed. And it's purely a consulting thing. I'm not going to be doing budgets or any of that kind of nonsense. And they said, no, it's just doing technical stuff. The change in the travel thing is what they called me about is a project in Puerto Rico. And Maggie said, wait, no, if you go, I go with you. So there may be some travel. But I don't know what's going to come of it. But one of the things I had thought about, I was probably most productive and happiest in life when I was working. And
Dad. Hi, Dad.
So anyhow, that's the recent thing. The other thing, that's changing in our lives is the Sickles family is moving to Budapest. I don't know if everybody knew that.
I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah, that's more recent. They've been talking about moving to Ireland first. It was
Right.
Budapest, then Germany, then Ireland for a couple of years, and Erica quit her job over it, and that didn't happen. But Todd now is working for a company out of Tirana, the capital of Albania, as a pilot for this. I guess you'd call it a conglomerate, even though it's a smaller company. It's well, I don't know, 800 million bucks a year kind of company, flying the executive jet. And he went over on a kind of a training thing where he had to get some hours on this plane so they could take it to the FAA, get his license and all that kind of stuff. So he went with the chief pilot and he went over there and he said, wow, this is pretty neat. But they, where was I going with that? I forgot.
Neriva.
Yeah.
Neriva.
Neuriva. It's in the chat area.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, he checked with the company and it turns out that he could live within one flight of Albania. And as long as he can have good chances of getting from where he's living to where they need him to fly, he's good. So they have 4 flights a day from Budapest to Tirana. The owner of the company actually owns the concession rights to the airport anyway. So he's got a big connection in there. But at the same time, Erica was looking at a job at the international school in Budapest. And Maggie's sister Dori is working again too. And her company said, well, we can't really pay you a lot, but we'll give you a house. So they gave her a house across from where she lives. And so she has another house to rent out. She's going to rent it out to Erica and Todd. So
So how soon are they going over? How soon is the
they're there
payment?
right now for Christmas.
Yeah.
Todd has kind of gone over. He's going to be working there. He's going to be staying in Albania. They own a huge resort hotel. They said they'll keep him there. And Monica and Erica will move in May or June or whenever after school. Erica wants her to finish this year, and it's kind of a hard finish because she's in 7th grade and eighth grade would have been the end of the elementary side of her education, and she probably would have gone to a different school anyway. So Monica's not real happy about it. She doesn't want to go somewhere where they don't speak English. As it turns out, they went to church this morning at an English-speaking church. They found out there's more English speakers in Budapest than there are probably Hungarians. So it's and that's changed. So that's kind of a interesting development for us. We're hoping to get a Zoom call or WhatsApp call with them. They come back the second, I think. So they're there for a couple of weeks. They went to Prague first for the Christmas market. They were going to Germany.
Ooh,
They were going to go to Berlin, and they couldn't make it work with flights, and Lauren and Allie with their schedules flying over Todd's daughters. So they just went to Prague, and then they're in Budapest with Maggie's sister and having a ball, getting comfortable with the idea of living there. So we'll see what happens there. The other side of things, I guess I've backed. Well, I think I quit the HOA before the reunion. I think I did. I think I quit in June.
Mm.
I don't remember.
It was about you were either on the edge or had quit, I think.
Yeah, which is a good thing. My cardiologist said, "Don't do that. That's stupid." I said, "Oh, okay." So I quit, and that's been a good thing. I still help out. I volunteer for things. And, my availability is up and down. I have good days and bad days, but I'm learning how to manage it. Plus, it's been a whole lot better. A year ago, I absolutely was really inactive. Actually, I've gained 20 pounds this year because the medication I'm on makes me gain weight, which is not a good thing. That's what I was trying to get off of after this last test they gave me. And he said, no, you got to stay on that. Maggie went with me. I take her to all my appointments now. She thought he said the same thing I thought, that instead of 2 doses a day, I'd go to 1. And I thought, that has to be better. He said, no, I never said that. So he kind of backtracked on that. I lost a little faith in him, I guess. But he said, let's do this credit card thing and tell me when you're having a problem. And then in February, we'll make a decision on this surgery thing. But he's thinking I will not be getting it. But he says, don't take that to the bank. It could still happen. So we shall see. Other than that, we're kind of doing our thing, studying history on TV. We got a smarter TV that now finds a lot of stuff. It has some kind of AI algorithm in it. It's a Chinese thing, so we're being careful. And you can just say history of Croatia, and it'll go find things from all over the place. And that's been kind of cool. So we saw a program the other night, the origin of the Magyars, Hungarians. And this guy gets half the way through this thing about the history and what happened, and then he launches into this thing about, oh, by the way, everything you were ever taught or anybody taught or whatever about Hungarian history is complete garbage. It's all lies. And then he launched into why and all that. We already knew that because most of it's based on Russian nonsense. That unless you go way back to St. Stephen in 1400, I guess, there's some true things from back then. But we're having a good time doing that kind of thing. And I'm trying to figure out quantum mechanics. That's been slow, but it's progressing. Those are my hobbies. And get back to woodworking. I'm kind of to the point where I can trust myself with chisels and sharp things again. In fact, I have it on good authority. That's one of my Christmas presents is a sharp chisel. I try to keep from hurting myself. But anyhow, next. Who's next? I forget.
It ain't me.
Hello, that would be me. Well, I don't have a lot of stuff to share, but I'll share what I can. There's still something medically amiss. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see myself on this thing. I don't know what's happening.
Oh,
Oh,
your
Oh,
view.
There, I
uh,
did it. I
Yeah.
fixed it. I fixed it. So anyway, the latest blood test that I had in the beginning of November, they found something, and I think it was a week ago, I went in, I had a CAT scan, I guess it is, where you're like put in this thing and they take pictures of gastrointestinal areas, the area that they're looking at. I'm not in any kind of pain. I'm still weak. I did well this summer, 4 or 5 days of water aerobics every week. Since I've been home, I have not done as well. I just don't have the energy. I can't gain weight. But I can eat anything I want. That's the good part. So anyway, I get the results of that in January, I think it is. So that's that. Other than that, I try to eat well, take care of myself, and have fun. Charlie, our dog, is now a teenager, and he has developed an annoying habit of speaking back to his parents.
oh, no.
He will bark and just bark, 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 and talk back. And so tomorrow we're starting an intervention on him. And I told Jim I cannot take it any longer. If he's excited, he just talks like a child would talk. Oh, hurry, 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 hurry. So I like a nice, calm household. And so we have to fix that. I have scheduled a major vacation next year, the first week in March. I am going, and this will shock everyone because it shocked my husband and it shocked everyone that I've told. I'm sensitive to the cold, which is why I live in the South. I am spending the first week in March on the Arctic with the polar bears,
Well,
and sleeping out we have a vehicle that we'll sleep in, this group, and the Aurora Borealis
oh,
is at its height at that time. There's a lounge in this vehicle where you can sit and talk and look at it. As soon as we get there, the very first day, we have a dinner and a photography lesson by a professional photographer because none of us are professionals. I will have my iPhone. I had thought about investing in a low quality something sophisticated, but I'm convinced now I don't need to do that. I will be renting the gear that I will wear because the temperatures will be -10 to -30 degrees. So we have these Arctic parkas that we'll be wearing and Arctic boots and all the undergear, which I will provide for myself, but I don't have to take all the major stuff to Canada and bring it home. So I'm going with my friend from Pittsburgh, my main travel mate. So we will meet in Canada on that first day. The other things we do on that trip is we do dog sledding, where you have a whole bunch of dogs and we sit on it and they've got the people who run it. that, so we don't have to do anything but have fun. There's one activity where we will have to do things, and that's we are going to walk in a forested area on a path. Oh, my battery is running low.
Do you have a
Just a
plug
minute.
in?
Just a minute. I had it plugged in a different one. Okay, that should do it. Okay, I think it's plugged in now. I have two computers here just in case one failed.
A true shoemaker.
I know, and I was stressing out, where's the link and all of this. But where was I? Oh, the other activity that we are going to do is take a walk in the woods using snowshoes. So this will be a strange adventure, but that's the only trip that I have planned. Um, Jim had surgery 4.5 weeks ago, and he should have recovered in about 10 days. But at the end of last week, it was 4.5 weeks, and he's now recovering. So he is back to, he can take Charlie out, for a short walk, no hiking or anything. So he's on the mend. What else is going on? I can't think of anything. I am missing Jack a great deal at this time of year because well, we would talk a lot. We talked every week, but I'm just feeling it especially now. That's all the news I think I have.
Okay. Ditto with what Carol just mentioned about Jack. I used to sit in my backyard and talk to him, and when I sit in the backyard now, it's kind of empty.
Yeah.
But uh, nothing we can do about that. My year's been interesting in some ways. Like I said, I this is the 1 year anniversary of my retirement, and I had thought I was going to help people do their taxes, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Uh, I went to the first training session. Well, it was through Zoom, and I said, "Nah, this isn't for me." So that's kind of out the window. I think at the reunion time, we met in July. I may have still been doing motorcycle training. And by the end of July, a couple of 90-degree days of running around a parking lot trying to chase motorcycles convinced me that my 71-year-old bones didn't want to do that anymore. So I finished out maybe a couple of classes in August and said, that's okay. I tried it and it didn't work out. But my activity, my one volunteer activity now is on Thursday mornings, I wash dishes for our Meals on Wheels at our church. And it's there's about 6 women who prepare the food, and I'm just there back to them washing dishes. But it's a neat mission in many ways. And I don't know if I told you guys about the beginning of the year. uh, Something in the paper caught my attention. It was cold outside, and there was a shelter that could not open for the homeless to sleep because they didn't have enough staff, and that outraged me. And within a day, they had my resume, and I was ready to be there. And actually, by the time they heard from me, they had found staff to do it. But there is, well, at the end of this month, they're opening another shelter where, like from 7 to 10 at night, I might be checking people in, just because the thought of people sleeping outside in this weather is just abhorrent. And some people just through no fault of their own. It's a low barrier shelter, so they don't have to be sober. They don't have to profess their Christianity. They just, with open arms, we would welcome them, I guess, and give them a place to sleep. And these are probably people that type of people I work with at the state hospital. and I guess I have a special place in my heart for them. So that's uh, going to be my second sort of volunteer kind of thing. Um, I wrote down a bunch of stuff because I have this bad memory thing going on. But November, I had cataracts removed. And I think, Gene, you had mentioned at the reunion how beneficial it is. I see colors, I see stars that I never saw before. Um, I haven't changed my eyeglass prescription yet, so you guys are all a little blurry to me, but you're very colorful. So that's been good. I still have a floater that's I was hoping would go away, but it must be deep in uh is it the aqueous humor, I think. Anyways, it's deeper than the lens, so I think I'm stuck with that one for life. Um, let's
It's like
see.
Carol went away.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if her battery ran down or what happened there, but um, let's see. I'm going to say this one kind of quietly because
Oh, secret.
Gene was in Nashville, and my upcoming event this year is we're going to a Keith Urban contest or concert. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, at Hershey Arena. So that's her Christmas present. So I don't.
Nice.
Hey, oh, there comes Carol back. So that's good. But anyway, but we also what is it, February, I guess, we're going to St. Thomas for about 5 days.
those for you.
Um, just wanted to get a warm weather vacation in. One year we went to Curacao and had had a great time just kind of getting away from the cold and seeing new places and stuff like that. So we enjoy the Caribbean. So um, tend to uh, do a lot of that. My I guess two other things. I've been golfing a lot. I love golf. Um, and I think I said last Monday or yeah, last Monday I was out golfing. Um, but my other love of my life is about 2.5 years old. And he crawls on me. Um,
Theo.
and I'm very blessed with having him live about 3 miles away.
Wow.
And Thursday, Friday, we watch him all day. And sometimes we pick him up from his preschool at 3 and we have him till 4:30 or something like that. But anyway, he took his nap today and Sam, when he woke up, asked him, what'd you dream about? Playing with Nana and Poppy. That's what he was dreaming about, you know? And it's a lot of fun. He is oppositional at times, but that's a 2-year-old. But we just have a good time. Fred, one time, I remember a quote: "If you'd have known how much fun grandchildren are, you'd have had them first." And yeah, he's just it's just been a lot of fun. I'm looking for warmer weather again so we can get outside to the park that's right across the street. But it's definitely I never would have predicted it because I always said I was allergic to children, but I have definitely embraced the role. So anyway, health-wise, cataracts, I've got neuropathy in my feet. They kind of sting all the time,
Oh,
like you got a bad sunburn kind of deal, especially when it's cold. So I've been taking something that hasn't worked. So um, I'm thinking of a neurologist consult, but some of the medications and the side effects are less aggravating than the pain that I feel in my feet. So at least I can still feel my feet, which is good.
I had that same problem, and I thought it was because of 25 years of basketball. But
Uh,
what I was talking to my doctor about was that it was nerve, uh, lack of nutrition in the nerves. And when I started taking My doctor Gene recommended I take D3,
K2, D3,
K2, and
D3.
turmeric
Oh,
and
Okay.
vitamin E. And I went from, say, having the tingling up to the high ankles to it's only in two toes now. It's going away. I don't know if that's good or bad. Talk to my sawbones the next time I see him. Uh, but
Yeah.
I was surprised that it changed. I
You
just
said
figured I had it forever.
A2, D3, turmeric. Oh, E? No.
D3K2.
Oh,
Yeah, I
K2.
take that too. I
K.
take that. Gene told me about that years ago. I've taken it.
Yeah, and it's supposed to
Oh,
help with
bone.
And
the
nerve is where,
absorption
yeah.
the absorption of calcium into your bones
right.
structurally.
Okay.
And that I think, and that kind of makes some sense because calcium has a lot of nerve effects anyway. So just you know, one data point.
Yeah. No, I've been taking alpha lipoic acid, seeing if that will do it. Um, it hasn't done anything that I would say beyond placebo effect. So, I would rather go over the counter than gabapentin and all these other Cymbalta, which is an antidepressant. So, anyway, I'm searching things out. Um, every night I have a underneath the desk here one of those Japanese shiatsu massagers on my feet with heat, and I just broke my power supply, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting for delivery from Amazon. But anyway, it's aggravating, um, but it's not enough to make me move to Florida uh, to get the warmth. But I would like to see it go away. I do have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and we'll see what kind of input I get.
Are you writing all this down that, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it in the chat, but
Oh,
you're
I didn't put it in the. Yeah.
Gene, do you still take K2, D3, K2?
Oh, absolutely.
I do too. Since you told me about, I have my next bone scan in 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So I take the one, I can send the picture, Marilyn, if you want to see the picture of the company and where to get it.
that would be great.
I'll send it out to everybody.
Yeah,
That would
Okay.
that's
be
good.
great.
Let's see. What did I say I was going to send you? The link to NHK. Okay. So anyway, that's sort of the brief story of my life, and I'm with the rest of you, even though I'm the youngest. I struggle with memory stuff, and I was amazed at the historical things that you guys remember about growing up and stuff. That I have enough trouble remembering what was my last golf shot. What number am I on? I mean,
That's
it's
kind of an
Hey,
interesting
yeah.
thing we got into when we were writing this memoir that uh, Erica bought for Maggie on
mm,
Storyworth.
mhm.
Is I remembered things that when I had some kind of incentive to remember it, I could remember it, but I couldn't remember who played in the football game 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
I've done lately is I've taken a quiet time after a football game
Mm.
or other events, and I remember backwards what actually happened.
Mm,
And I'm actually thinking I'm making some progress
mhm,
just with that exercise. I
mhm.
don't know why, and maybe it's just temporary or not real. I don't know. I'm not taking numbers.
Yeah.
I
No,
could see it as a
don't,
skill. Yeah, I could
yeah,
see it as a skill,
yeah.
and like, you know,
I'm next.
yeah, oh sorry. This thing is a muscle, and maybe that's what you're doing is reviewing that. Off to Maryland. Yes.
Uh, so I was looking at, I've had ancestry.com, stuff. And I was looking at what they say I've found a lot of people and etc. Um, so I was trying to remember the names. of, dad's mother, and or grandmother or whatever, and thinking that if I understand the names, at least it's the same sort of thing that you're talking about. Uh, yeah, keeping something fresh. Um, yeah, and as you can see, I haven't started yet.
But I think that's what pictures can do. They are cues. So take a lot of pictures of what you did so that you have a cue then later on. But I think what Fred's also saying is, you know, there might be part of our brain that's use it or lose it. If you don't use your recall or exercise your recall ability, uh, you're going to lose the ability to recall things.
Hmm.
And your quiet time or whatever of reviewing things, I think is exercising that part of the brain so that it's not a lost art for
Yeah,
us.
I think a big change came when I got retired. I was no longer doing the forced march kind of thing through all of the responsibilities and projects and things that I had to do. And now I don't really have to do a whole lot. Keep the dishwasher empty and things like that. But it I think that fills in a gap. The forced um, memory exercise. I think it's helping.
Hmm.
So just again, single data point may not be a trend.
So I've got a question about drawing a tree. No, drawing a clock.
Oh,
Uh, my I was how can I say this without being really angry?
my doctor made me do that.
Oh, really?
10-10. Draw the clock, draw the hands on the clock.
Yeah. When you say 10-10, what do you mean?
Mean, I was told to make the face of a clock
Hmm.
with, 10-10, 10 in the morning, 10. So you have a short side and a long side and the circle around it. You had to make it, just a graphic.
Hmm. My experience was not like that. That sounds like you had a bit more support than I did. Uh, my bonus son, Doug, and his wife told Dan that they thought I needed to see someone about, my thinking capacity. And so I was taken to, I mean, where we have the woman was a doctor, and I disliked her intensely. Uh, and I could not draw a tree. And I tried in the office of someone that I did like, and I could not draw a tree. I cannot do it. And so, Carol, you were able to do it?
I was able to do it, but initially I didn't draw the circle.
Mm.
And you didn't, well, actually, you actually put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You put the numbers in the face of the clock so that you could do 10-10.
Yeah.
That was one, and I needed a little bit of guidance on that. The other ones were like they would give me 3 words and then say, I'm going to ask you in a little bit to repeat those. And then they go 2 minutes later, they say, what was those 3 words?
Hmm.
And you had to try to recite it back.
Hmm.
So they've started testing me for that kind of stuff too.
It's
Hmm. Yeah, I
basically a
got the
neuro.
words.
Yeah.
I got the words. I could not get the clock.
Did they ask you for the clock?
Oh, yeah.
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 The exact same thing. Okay, I thought they were just randomly coming up with these things. But
Well,
okay,
your experience was different with the clock than mine, and I blocked my experience out so I cannot
okay,
tell you.
okay.
I,
Yeah.
I I put in the chat area and I talked to Marilyn about this. There's a book, Brain on Fire, where a woman was institutionalized for a month in a psych ward, Susanna Callahan, or however you spell it there. But anyways, that was part of the diagnostic procedure, draw a clock.
Yeah.
And the clock that she drew was not the clock that a person with psychosis would have drawn, and it
Mm.
helped them determine that she actually had a rare type of infection
Wow.
in her brain. She
Hmm.
was not psychotic, and it was
Mhm.
made into a movie as well. But I think she was from Philadelphia, and um, yeah, it's a interesting. This brainy thing. Um, when it functions well,
Hmm.
life is great. But there are, I used to tell the students, any of us are this far away from something bad happening, with chemical imbalance or, brain injury or whatever, stroke, you name it. So take good care of your brain.
Mm.
That's what they were worried about my first cardiac adventure because my heart actually stopped pumping and I wasn't getting blood to either my heart or my brain.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
There was some change from that point, but I'm still functional. So,
Mhm.
Can we get a second opinion on that? Or no, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding,
no.
Fred.
Mm.
Yeah. So
uh,
Mhm.
anyway, random using. Oh, I know something. I kind of had it written down. We kind of covered it a little bit. Oh, no, 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 no. What did see? I'm writing notes here and forgetting where I wrote the note, but
I have a little more to share also.
oh,
Something I
go
forgot.
go ahead because yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
since we got back from Pittsburgh, Jim and I have been working very hard on putting together an estate plan, um, and getting guidance from the professionals on that. Uh, and we've learned a lot of fascinating things about how to pass on assets or wealth without creating a tax consequence for the people who get them. We're going to be endowing a professorship at Clemson University. I'm
Mhm.
going to provide money for the high school that I retired from, for the library to have books that students will like to read. Um, at any rate, as far as our homes go, we learned that, and this was new to us, and I should have known all of this all along, but I didn't, that we can gift a particular home to someone and they inherit it at the value of the home that day. So any capital gains on the property, if they decide to sell it a month later or 6 months later to get the assets out, the capital gains on it is very short. It's minor compared to
Mm.
when you've owned something for 20 years and the assets have gone up. In addition, we, we're in a good spot, but because I have to do required minimum distribution from all of my pre-tax stuff, starting next year. They've given me a lot of guidance on how to handle that. Dennis, I saw on Facebook that you give to certain charities on a regular basis, typically in December, and I do the same thing. But with the required minimum distribution that I have to take next year, I can move it, and Vanguard is setting this up for me. I can move that entire chunk
Mhm.
into a Vanguard charitable donation fund where I choose how it is to grow. It continues to grow. And then I tell them at any given time, I want to donate to, World Kitchen, World Central Kitchen, or the Alzheimer's Association, or Red Cross. I mean, this really came up when Asheville
Mm.
happened, and when we were hit by Helene also, there was so much damage in our community. But Asheville was the one that I wanted to help immediately without sending off a check, and I wanted it targeted to specific things. So anyway, this pot that I'm setting up and that Jim will set up too, because he's taking RMDs, you take the tax benefit when you donate it to Vanguard. So let's say I give $100,000 for my RMD for next year. That I take that benefit immediately. So I can deduct it off my taxes and lower our income. We don't need any more reduction in our state taxes or income taxes. So that's how I'm getting around having to pay taxes on all this stuff and not waiting until both of us are gone in order to start the process and make it simple. We've set up healthcare directives and how we want to, that's what it's called, I think, healthcare directive. And we each had to specify, for example, if the brain is gone, and
Incapacitated or yeah.
is that what it is
Yeah,
called, Aaron?
incapacitated. Yeah.
That's it, incapacitated and only liable, and there's no hope for you coming back. Do you want to have nutrition and do you want to have fluids?
Mm.
And so, we signed all that. We identified who's the person to call and all of this. I mean, obviously we're for each other, but one of us is going to go and the other one, will know what they wanted. But it's amazing the stuff that we are trying to do so that we don't have children. We don't have children. So there's nobody to call and burden them with this. So we are hiring this company to do it and just specifying who are the trustees and the executor and that sort of thing. So it's a massive undertaking and it will probably take a good bit of next year. But they've given us a lot of good ideas on how not to wait until you're both gone in order to have all of this happen. Marilyn, I had talked to Patrick about willing him the African art collection that we have. He didn't seem too interested in it. But I said to him, you could just donate it to a museum. But I think what we're going to do, because we're ready to start moving on some things, we'll be downsizing at some point, and that stuff will need to go. So we're just going to donate it ourselves, pack it up. And in Charleston, there is a museum of Africa or something like that. I mean, it has to be Africa, not Native,
Mhm.
American Black population. So anyway, it's a challenge and it's consuming us and it's a moving target because we don't know what we're doing and we're being advised and feel confident with what we're doing.
Mm. Mm.
Well,
Mhm.
it's good not to be caught unawares, first of all. Second of
Well,
all, you don't want to pay more tax than you need to. And what you said about the Vanguard
right.
charitable branch, whatever, I was unaware of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been shifting things from traditional IRAs to Roth, so I pay the tax now, and then it grows tax free.
You
Uh,
only have you only have a few more years to do that, I
right,
think.
73 and a half.
73 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
But I'll shelter some things and eh, minimize, not eliminate the amount of taxes that I have to pay. So
no, that's right.
yeah,
And with the charitable one, the Vanguard charitable one, you have a lot of forms you have to fill out to start it. And it says the Carol Goodwin Trust
hmm.
that I'm setting up in Vanguard. But it's there and you take the immediate tax benefit. That RMD will go straight into that Vanguard account and it'll come off of my taxes next year.
It
Or I think if I do it by April 15th, I think that I can deduct it off of this year's taxes.
uh, for me, converting to Roth, the deadline is the 31st. So you would want to check
I
to
will.
to see that.
Okay.
You might have to scramble a little bit, but what I was about to say is, I think, despite our rather, I would say, poor beginnings, all of us have
Yeah,
done pretty darned well.
well,
And
it's
to
true.
be in this to be in these situations that many others and Jack through some circumstances was not in these kinds of financial predicaments. But I what I want to say, I guess I'm thankful to have to make some of these decisions
Yeah.
and not have to worry financially about things like we did when we were growing up.
Yeah, no, that's right. I never
Yeah.
anticipated that we would, I don't want to call it lucky because I mean, I was focused on it, and Jim will tell you that if he hadn't have met me, he wouldn't be worth what he is worth today. I remember when we went to his mother's funeral, he was bragging about the fact that he was now a millionaire and that he's just following my investment advice, and he made his first million.
There happens to be somebody in this Zoom conference who had a refrigerator magnet saying you can never be too thin or too rich. I
That's
don't
right.
know who that could have been.
That's right. I have lived by those words. No, I did some things right. I did a lot of things wrong, but we're very comfortable
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hoping to continue charitable stuff.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
no risk, no gain.
That's right.
And sometimes those risks don't work out, but the gains, I think for all five of us, we're in positions that are good positions. But I think
Yeah,
the advice of looking ahead to, your advanced directives and
yeah,
tax burdens and stuff like that
Mhm.
is well worth doing
it is.
before you're on the brink, you know.
No, that's right.
Um, yeah, Lori knows she wants me to be, well, I want to be cooked. She's already thinking of the Viking, the flaming arrow to the
To the
ship that's
ship.
floating down the Susquehanna River and filled with some flammable liquid in my body. But anyway, no, those are good pieces of advice. And the one about the charitable trust is one that I wasn't aware of, so I need to
I
check
just
that out.
learned about it. I just learned about
It's
it.
a constant
Jim, Jim,
process.
Jim is going to be buried in the Goodwin Cemetery that goes back to the early 1800s. He will be James G. Goodwin III
Hmm.
in the lineup of the first one, the second one, and the third one. And he spoke to me the other day and he said, because I'm going to be cremated, and so is he. He said, I'd really like to have your ashes buried with his. I said, just spread it on water.
Yeah.
And he said, is it okay if I flush it down the toilet? Make it to the ocean at some point.
Uh-huh.
But the other thing that we're doing on his side is that we are funding a 401(c)(3 trust, charitable trust that will maintain the Goodwin Cemetery, which is a private cemetery, and also the Black Cemetery that has been associated with the Goodwin family, where the people who worked for the Goodwins over the years, where they are buried. So we're going to take care of those in addition to the Goodwin Cemetery, just because I don't know that it's going to continue, once it's beyond what we contribute, but we'll see.
It's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it keeps that Nariva going and the brain cells going, and I always got things to look at and evaluate and revise, but our wills are well on the way.
Yeah, and Dennis, you have recorded all of this, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
still recording. Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, part of my legacy, if you want to call it that, we have a cabin down near Chambersburg in mid Pennsylvania, and there's a remnant chestnut tree. I mean, the blight took out all the chestnut trees out across
Yeah.
the U.S., but there's one that keeps sticking its head up, keeps getting killed off by the fungus. But I've actually in the refrigerator behind me, I've got chestnuts that are hybrids that you have to, I don't know, keep them refrigerated a while. Then I'm going to plant them in the spring and put them around the
Nice.
cabin as a way of
Nice.
starting restoring. I won't see the fruits of it,
Right.
but it's part of a, I don't know, passion, I guess,
Yeah.
for me that we restore the chestnut for the wildlife and for the lumber and for
Yeah.
generations to come to have trees.
The
So
chestnuts are from a hybrid, or are they
yeah,
from,
yeah, they're from a hybrid.
what are they hybridized with? Chinese?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, which is
that
resistant. Yep.
yeah, Chinese chestnut hybrids are coming back. They planted out west. I thought I saw a number of 1 million trees in Oregon.
Yeah, yeah. I think I came across that. Yeah. Um, and I want to be part of that. So,
Yeah,
it's just
cool.
something else to do.
Mm.
A lot of things to do yet.
Miles
Yeah,
to
we're not
go.
done. We're not
Miles
done.
to go before I sleep, and miles to go.
Raise your hand if you're going to be at the reunion.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think so.
Oh, which is something I did have on my agenda here. Um, Dates for it. Have they been finalized?
No, it's the 12th of July or the 19th, but
That's
I've
what I
not
thought.
had confirmation.
Was I don't know, was Erica sort of being a
Yeah.
pivotal role of that, or
Erica
that's what
is.
I thought. Yeah.
She is.
And I kind of chatted with Marilyn last week about the fact we were meeting up in Erie to, because Jack was up there and things like that. He's no longer there. And I appreciate the financial sacrifice that you guys make and everybody makes in terms of time and stuff like that. But um I guess I was thinking, geez, do we want to move it down south, blah, blah, blah. But as I shared with Marilyn, I am impressed with how the cousins
Mhm.
have responded with this. Ileana, in a frickin' snowstorm, was visiting Erie
For
like 2 weeks
Thanksgiving.
ago or something.
Yeah.
And I think wasn't Jake and Jenny up or something too?
Sickles and the Metzdorfs were all there.
And you know, I'm shutting my mouth about moving this whole event out of Erie because I see the value of it just incredibly. Now, I think all of us share the interest of not burdening Susan. I think financially and personally we
Yes.
support her and things like that. But the connections that I've seen have just been astonishing. And I
Well, there
don't
may
know.
be a further connection. Maggie Jean was accepted to Gannon.
Oh my
Oh, she
goodness.
was.
Well, wait, isn't there a branch down there near Gene?
Well, it's a
Oh,
little
yeah,
different.
there
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
very specialized
yeah.
thing,
That's what
Yeah.
and
that's
they
what I
and,
thought.
and they don't have a water polo team.
Oh, okay, okay.
Not in
Well,
Florida. They have one in Erie.
yeah. Oh, well, I
Like
mean,
mother, like daughter there.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
mother, like
Mhm.
daughter.
Well, that
That's
may
neat.
be actually what happens. Is Maggie Jean wants to go to Iona
That's
Oh.
great.
and uh, continue the legacy. And the
Mhm.
funny thing is, well, not so funny, but the coach, Iona coach, was down here this weekend at a tournament that they were at, and he was scouting Maggie Jean. He
Mm.
also got to scout Walter.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh goodness.
wow.
Walter's a freshman, so it'll be interesting to see. This guy's been there since Jenny was there in the late 70s. And I don't know if he'll be there for Walter, but maybe Maggie Jean. Although he looks as old as he did back when he was 20.
Oh, wow.
He's he keeps in shape. So, but it was interesting. But yeah, the stories are still the stories of Thanksgiving are still going on, and they even took the dog this time, and although the dog didn't like that, this snow thing did not sit well. They've got a wimpy dog.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to uh, mention something about the reunion there, by asking who's planning on attending. Yes, the 12th or 19th will, by hook or by crook, be
Yeah,
there as
we'll be
well.
there.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Well, you'll be in Pittsburgh, won't you?
We'll
Probably.
be in Pittsburgh for the summer. It's too
Yeah.
hot in the south. Too hot in the south in the summertime.
I'm not moving to the south then.
Yeah, you just have to have two places. That's it.
Yeah,
Summer
yeah.
and
Too hot to golf down there.
yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've been here hour and a half, and trying to see if we've hit our agendas or if we've triggered any cues of something somebody wanted to say and forgot to say or anything
Oh, I
along.
won't remember that until after the call.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't
Yeah, me
if
too.
it's Fred, if it's 3 a.m., don't call me. Although
That's probably an hour early.
yeah, yeah. I saw an email from you at midnight or something. It looks like some late hours there. I'm a little guilty of that myself, I will admit.
Yeah, I've sent the four o'clock email too.
Oh no, oh no. What I found is I can't get through the day without a nap. And if anybody else is in that, but I don't feel guilty about it because I don't have a schedule. So what the heck? If I fall asleep, I fall asleep.
I owe the 4 o'clock in the morning emails to Bev. She used to let me sit on her couch and yak with her for all night long.
Oh
The old
goodness.
days.
Oh
Days I miss.
yeah, yeah. Well, as we uh march forward in time, each one of us has an expiration date. I'm glad that we haven't met it yet, and I'm hoping to experience health as much as you can. There's going to be stuff that goes wrong. In fact, my grandson had RSV last week, and we're
No.
watching him.
Oh, and it's
Yeah,
bad for people our
yeah,
age.
yeah. We got the vaccine last year, um, but that's still no guarantees of anything. So that
I
was
need to get it. Jim got it. I haven't gotten it. I need to get
yeah, yeah. Well, I used to tell my students, get the shots because if any one of us gets sick, we become a little incubator for
it.
mutations.
That's right.
I don't care if it doesn't kill you,
Yeah.
although as you saw on my Facebook page, my dissertation committee member and former professor, 75 years old, got COVID-related pneumonia.
Yeah.
Oh
He
dear.
was he was he would have a banana for lunch. He was the most fit individual. He lived out in Arizona. Um, one of the brightest men I've ever met, and got struck down by COVID related pneumonia.
Yeah.
So, whatever we can.
Dennis, when you got the shot,
Yeah,
I'm hearing from other neighbors that some people had a severe reaction to it. Did you have a reaction?
no reaction at all.
Soreness, just incredible pain at the injection site.
No,
Yeah, that's good to know.
no. In fact, this
All
year
right.
I got my flu and COVID shots, and then went out to the driving range, uh, hitting
Mhm.
golf balls, and
Yeah.
eh, so
Oh, I
no
know
RSV. Yeah,
one thing
RSV
I
did.
was going to get into. I think we've all had our genes done.
Had what?
Our genes.
A DNA.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Oh,
Oh, you
yeah.
haven't?
I
Oh.
had my dogs done. Does that count?
I had
Well,
mine done a long
maybe,
time ago.
maybe.
No,
I
no.
was wondering how many people came up with Denisovans genes.
I did. I was the
Oh,
I
first
know
in the
you did.
family.
I did too.
You did too.
Okay.
Is that the
Yeah.
23andMe deal or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
Yeah. Way
Okay.
back. It
If
now.
I get arrested because you guys are in the FBI's database, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, I know I'm in the FBI database. That was for Russian spying.
Oh, yeah, because you impersonated Dad by
Yeah.
writing to the embassy or something.
Yeah.
I
Oh boy,
remember
what a
that.
memory that is.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Oh, yeah.
Being investigated by the FBI.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you do? Uh,
What
Mm.
when you the word you mentioned, what it begins with D, the
Denisovan.
Denisovan. Denisovan.
Dennis
Denisovan.
Denisovan Denisova.
Denisovan.
yeah.
What's it indicate, or what is it?
Well, it's the Neanderthal of Asia,
Oh,
It's,
and
okay.
yeah,
if you
ancient DNA.
Oh,
yeah if you read a lot of the current research into genetics, they're coming up with all kinds of um, I wouldn't say conclusions, but suspicions of different things like the Neanderthals and Denisovans are the reason our teeth are shaped the way they are. And there's some other things. I should take notes. I've forgotten. Uh,
Yeah, but our Denisovan is so tiny. I mean,
yeah.
there's so
uh,
many of
Well,
them.
yeah. Tiny things can do big things sometimes.
Okay.
Is where they're going with this. That a lot of the immunities or immuno and the reason I got into this is the gluten thing
Mm.
because there was something about the autoimmune reactions in vanilla flavored white folk don't make any sense. And what they're thinking is some of these strange alien kinds of, yeah, not those, uh, of genes are, and we're getting into it a little, well, I got into it a little bit. Maggie's niece is pregnant, and they found she has Satomi 8, which is the eighth chromosome where it doubles. But it's just in the placenta, it's not in the fetus. And I got into all kinds of research over that. But that's one of the things they're saying these alien genes are responsible for, or they're researching it anyway. It must be research topics are hard to find. But I had remembered, Carol, you had two high twos or something like that.
Something like that. I mean, I'd
Yeah,
have to look it up
and
and
I'm
it should be
remembering a
retested because that was a long time ago.
yeah, I'm remembering a 3.8 for mine.
Oh, oh yeah, I was remembering that we have some gypsy.
mm.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. And I asked Grandma once for some reason, Grandma Schuler, did we have any gypsy heritage? Because I have no idea why I asked. She was enraged.
Mm.
Oh, well, yeah. That yeah. Yeah. The subject of gypsies in Hungary is a um,
Sure.
huge deal. But that's Maggie, it turns out, is not what you'd consider from where Hungary is now. She's more from Bulgaria, all of her genetics.
Hmm.
And that's pretty common with purebred Hungarians.
Hmm.
And that was one of the things we heard on one of these programs. I think it was The Origin of the Slavs. We heard about the moving around of different people in Eastern Europe, and a lot of it was that people would, and it was a strange dynamic. They have the same thing in, I think, Iceland, where they're almost a pure gene because there's no immigration, and uh, they have the same sort of thing in towns in the old Yugoslavia, where 20 miles away, uh, two towns 20 miles away will have genes that are so, I wouldn't call it pure, but they're so uniform, but different. They didn't interbreed. But the gypsy thing, yeah, I can picture. So I've experienced that with Maggie's uh, aunts and her grandmother. That was an emotional subject.
Yeah, and I could see why, because when we lived in Spain, we did encounter gypsy camps.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I could see why that would be a response.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
I
have
was curious when I read about this autoimmune uh, uh, effect of call it the ancient genes. Uh, I said, wow, I wonder, there's just so many things being discovered these days because all the new technologies, like my cardiogram card, and the things that I used to do, I was more of a scientist my last 10 years. With the last thing I did was probably 2 years on a scanning electron microscope looking at metals that the first part of my career you couldn't have done. It didn't exist. So we learned so much more about metallurgy by being able to do that. It was pretty cool. I'm I read a thing where they're doing the same thing. It's unfortunately it's Russians that are doing it because then you can't get any good information anymore. But the things they were doing with mental processes, like we've all heard over our lives where people see auras around people. There's blue and red and all that. Well, the Russians researched that. They found out that that's actually true. That it's related to quantum mechanics. When light moves and it moves inside your brain, you actually get pulses of light occurring inside your brain, and that's something that they're thinking is a process that degrades over time, and they think it has something to do with memory. The less able you are to do that, the less functional you are with memory and the other thing, thinking, like deductive thinking and things like that. I read about that a couple of years ago. It was fascinating, but it's all related to quantum. Well, we all are indebted to quantum physics because if you used your GPS without the quantum design, you couldn't get within 10 miles of where you wanted to.
Is this going to be on the test?
it's being recorded, so
Oh,
yep, it possibly could.
That
yeah.
you get into quantum physics, I'm gone. I'm out.
Yeah.
Haven't eaten yet, so
I'm back on a genetic thing here because I have a curiosity. I don't, hopefully this isn't too personal, but I have to take a statin because of cholesterol levels. And I was kind of wondering if, anybody else was kind of in that situation or could disclose it or anything like that. Because that, um,
I don't have that problem, and I had less of a problem when I went gluten free,
yeah,
which is
probably,
an autoimmune issue.
yeah.
I don't have an issue at all. Never
Okay.
have. But I
Yeah.
eat pretty responsibly, so
I tend
But
to,
it
and
doesn't
that's why I was
doesn't have a
surprised.
lot to do with eating.
Yeah.
well, it
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, it can. Oh, definitely. If you eat
It
sausage
can.
and bacon and stuff like that, which I
Exactly.
don't do a whole lot. So I was surprised that my cholesterol levels were high, and that's part of the reason I'm going to the doc tomorrow. But I was just kind of curious to see if there was any kind of family pattern that, and it doesn't sound like it, which is,
No.
I know, refreshing in some ways. So
I think Dad had cholesterol problems.
Oh,
he had high blood pressure. I
oh.
know that's because he had 8 kids too, which didn't help. But he eventually quit all his medications. I remember him saying. So I think, retiring and, just, I think his stress load decreased as he got older, and that was probably good.
Hey,
So,
he had a good long life,
mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
and we want to have the same genes working in us.
That's the plan.
That's
Yeah.
the plan.
And
Yeah.
as each generation, certainly in the United States, each generation is living longer than their ancestors, than their ancestors, than their ancestors. Although we've got it from both sides. We've got it from the Shoemaker and the Schuler. We have some good longevity genes.
As long as we have health, that's
Exactly.
that's the kicker.
Exactly.
Living a long life, but being unhealthy is
Mhm.
not the direction I want to go either. So, um, yeah.
We all had a good upbringing around doing it right. The problem now in the U.S. is there's a huge part of the population doing it wrong, and actually life expectancy is declining for the other half, say. When you look at people who weren't so healthy a few decades ago and people who aren't so healthy now, the ones now are in much worse shape.
Mm.
And that's a sad trend.
Definitely obesity,
Yeah,
poor
huge,
nutrition.
huge.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you go to some particular states and it's almost like an epidemic of,
Yeah.
obesity and things that, you know, we're, we're responsible, I think, for a lot of our health choices. And my cholesterol, though, doesn't seem to be based on health choices as much as uh, body composition, metabolism,
Genetics,
whatever.
yeah.
So, yeah, it sucks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to pass out. I gotta
Oh,
eat.
okay. There she
Okay.
goes. There
My
she goes.
Chinese dinner is cooled off too.
I can. So you have
That's
now
good
have
leftovers, though. That's good leftovers
cold
there.
and sour soup, right? Uh,
Fred,
Dennis,
I
anyway,
thank you.
wanna, Fred,
Thank you for putting this together, Dennis.
yeah,
sure.
Fred, I want to just say a couple things after everybody goes.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to exit and
Oh, I don't think we can do that then.
oh yeah, you can because you signed on before me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
But I couldn't. Oh no,
I
we could talk.
I can just exit.
I
Okay.
could see you and no, I could see you and
I can
Jean.
leave the meeting. Yeah, without ending the meeting for
In
all.
the old days, you couldn't do that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So if not, call each other. So, okay. Hey, I'm glad we did this.
Me too.
We'll
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
see each other again in
July.
July, if not
July.
sooner.
Mhm.
Exactly. Looking
Sounds
forward
good.
to
And
it.
if we see each other sooner, let's hope it's over joyful kinds of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm not getting married again, so it's not going to be a
Oh,
wedding.
come on.
Once,
Any of you
that's
having a
it.
baby? I'm
No,
not
I'm not
planning.
having a baby either.
Okay. Yeah,
No
yeah.
baptism to go to.
Behave yourselves out there.
All right, bye.
Okay.
Love you all.
Bye,
Love you,
all.
love you, love
Merry
you.
Bye.
Christmas.
Love you
Merry
all too.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Uh, And Fred, I'll see you
Oops.
the
24.
24th
Yep.
at 3:30.
Ish.